Hello, Alex. And welcome to today's episode of Kavod Weekly Webinar.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we'll just wait a couple of more minutes for others to join us and then we'll start. Hello, Ope. It's good to have you again. I hope you're having a wonderful time at work. Okay, so I think we have waited a few minutes. Others will join us in time, so we don't have to rush out like we usually do. We don't have enough time as usual when it comes to Zoom, right? And it's good to actually have that time frame where we can manage our time properly, right? I can imagine this webinar not having a fixed time frame where no matter what, we just have to end it. I think we'll just be going on and on and on for probably 3 hours. So yeah, it's good that we have a time frame to this webinar so it's not too long and we can always continue topics or sessions we are unable to finish. So welcome once again, Mr. Alex. Welcome once again, Okoyemi, Linda, my very good friend, very loyal, very committed, very loving, very supportive. Thank you so much. I know you're blushing right now. I can imagine it. Thank you so much for always joining my webinar. It means so much to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'll be welcoming the others as they join in today's webinar. Last week, we were looking at a topic that is very dear. Is there any topic that is not dear to my heart? Actually, I don't know. I don't think there's any, but one of the topics that is dear to my heart, we're looking at it last week, how workplace culture shapes employee experience. If you've ever heard me talk about what goes on in the workplace and HR stuff, you know that I'm very passionate about these things. You know, these things are very dear to my heart. So I don't really think there's a topic that is really not dear to my heart. We're talking about it last week. We were talking about it with my friend Iberiayo. Amo, and he shared a lot of things that I will just bring to our remembrance in the next 1 or 2 minutes, right? I remember him sharing how it made mention of a few examples of some workplace cultures he has experienced. He talked about birthdays. I think he talked about I don't know how his boss is actually a very open person to the staff, and he could go on and on and on. In fact, even after his closing hour, he could still be talking with his boss, right? He talked about that kind of culture now is open, what do you call it? It's an open-ended relationship where you are cordial with your boss, and you're not in a workplace where the culture is like, I'm the boss here. You need to see me. You need to pass through like 4 protocols, 10 protocols before you see me. So yeah, he mentioned a few workplace culture, and he also talked about a few employee experiences, like in terms of his own experience, right, and what other people have experienced. I remember him talking about something, like about he said something I shared maybe 2 weeks back or so, or 3 weeks ago, something about how why would a staff have go for an official assignment and then have, what do you call it now, have a hiccup on the road, medical something, yeah, maybe like an accident or something, and then it is that information is passed across to the company, and the company is saying that they are not going to take responsibility for it. Like how? What kind of culture is that? And then you want staff to go over and beyond for you. People will not go over and beyond for you. A culture like that, employees will use the word, I can't come and kill myself for, because the truth is, if you end up killing yourself, the company will not take responsibility for it, sadly. So we have lots of funny cultures, in organizations that do not make sense. And we have the ones that really make sense. I have experienced cultures that are very nice. Like, I'm not even lie about that. I've experienced cultures that are very nice. Let me give you an example. So, I have, well, as an HR consultant, I have gone to a client's office before. So I usually resume there. Is it twice a week? That's not even my company, our client's office. These guys, they share lunch. I don't like food. I'm not a foodie, but sometimes when you're hungry, you know that food is very important. They share lunch, like they share lunch every day. Yeah, every day. And I remember there was a day I was supposed to actually be there, but I couldn't go. Something came up, and then they kept my food. Like, okay, can you imagine? They kept my food. Hey, I was very happy. Oh. They were telling me over the phone that, hello, Mrs. Gloria, are you coming in today? We don't know if you are, but we have kept your lunch in case you step in much later in the day. I was like, hey, now wow, this is nice, you know what I'm talking about? So I was very happy, that's a very nice culture. Thank you, Dario. You said that's amazing. As in, yeah, they actually did keep my food. And aside from that, every week, yes, so every week. Hello, Moi, welcome. My second friend that always joins every week. You and Okwe, you guys are down to earth. They're one in a million. Don't worry. When I'm sharing prices for people that join every time, it's two of you that will drag the price and win it. Thank you so much for always supporting me. I love you guys. Let me just say this in passing. Okay, back to the topic and the matter. Right. I said something now. I said that once a week, they usually have a hangout. And the hangout is at all these very nice restaurants on the island. Not all these puse ones. Oh. Sorry, I don't know what word to use. I don't even know how that came out of my mouth. What is puse? Okay, so not all those anyhow restaurants, those top restaurants. Funny how I think the culture was that they get to pick a restaurant of their choice that they actually can go every week. So they have employee bonding, employee socialization every week, different restaurants. Order what you want on the budget of sometimes 15K, sometimes 20K. And the funny thing that the first time I went with them, the funny thing that I saw that was very unusual in Nigerian companies and organizations was that the MD, their boss, they have two bosses, like partners, they're both partners. They show up for that meeting every week. Like, they show up every week. Two men with families who are busy, they have stuff they do. Like, they show up in that once a week meeting. What an amazing culture. I was there and I was like, how I wish my company can have sense like this. Anyway, thank God I didn't mention the name of the company I was working with them. But yeah, that's an example of a culture that I have experienced and is really nice. Let's not talk about the ones that are not nice, because time will go if I do that. So let's go to the next slide that we have for today. Right. So what are some workplace cultures that we know or are very familiar with? Hello, Blessing. Welcome. I saw you walking in, but I was so engrossed in the very nice workplace experience that I have, been privileged to have in the past. So what are some workplace cultures we are very used to? Areas. I know we've always talked about this in the past You know, we've mentioned it in the past episode we had, episode 4 last week, where my friend came in. And then I'm going to mentioning them again, right? Just and some other ones that we're probably not used to. So one workplace culture that we're all very familiar with is punctuality. Punctuality. I put that as number one because we're all familiar with it. Every workplace will tell you you're supposed to resume by 8 or 9. Most workplaces in Nigeria will say if you resume 8 or they'll deduct from your salary, you know, or they will say, oh, if you walk in, you have 15 minutes grace. Yeah, that's a workplace culture. 15-minute grace, if you walk in 9:15, your salary will be deducted. So, you know, all of those punctuality cultures, yeah. Has it really helped employees? I don't know. My face says it all. Has it really made you early or late? But when it comes to salary deduction, people tend to sit up, they are more diligent, they are more punctual, they are more disciplined and all of that. Okay, so let's move on to the next one we have here, birthdays, right? Birthday is also a workplace culture. Some companies don't care if it's your birthday. They won't even wish you like, hello, hi, it's your birthday. You dress nice, you don't dress nice. Some companies, in fact, it's a culture. The birthday person will wear fine clothes, you know, dress up, buy new attires, wear makeup if it's a female, if it's a male, wear suit or wear an agbada or wear look nice and all that. Then in the company they will have a birthday cake where other employees will celebrate the person, say nice things about the person. I have been in maybe 2 companies like that before. You know, say nice things about the person, you know, do a toast, share drinks, they'll even do presentation of gifts. Hey. But some companies, happy birthday. Was it your birthday yesterday? Oh, sorry. Happy belated birthday. We didn't know. Yeah, and all that. One of my friends told me recently that in her workplace, every employee, they send them money every time it's their birthday. Like they send them money. Money, can you imagine? Money. Ego. When I was talking about birthday cake and pictures, like they do birthday cake for them and pictures, but they literally give them money. One of my friends told me, I was, you know, having conversation about this workplace culture. No? She said they give them cash. They send to their account. I was asking her like how much. It was like maybe 15 or 20. I said, hey, it's Nigeria. Is it like part of the salary? It's not part of the salary. Is it part of the gross salary? It's not part of the gross salary. Hey, just on his own. Like that, free. Wow, amazing, lovely. So I don't know, you guys can put in the chat box, you know, if you are in a company where when is your birthday, they send you cash. Please let me know so that I can apply as an HR consultant for that company. So that when it's my birthday, they'll give me cash. They'll give me cash. Please asking for the name of the company. I don't know the name of the company, but she said it's one bank like that. I'm very sure it's not GTB. Sorry, if GTB gets to see this video. Sorry. I'm not even sorry, I'm unapologetic. I'm very sure it's not GTB. I didn't even ask for the name of the bank. It's not GTB, it can't be Zenith, it can't be Access. It can't be. Let's just move on. But that's for the birthdays, right? Then we have other companies who, when it comes to bonuses and incentives, they don't joke, they don't play. Oh, what? You met your target, you overshot your target, you're going to have, you know, you just see your salary topping up with like maybe extra 20K, extra 50K. Say that's a bonus, you know, for meeting your target, for making us proud, you know, for going out of your way and beyond. You know, there are companies like that. I don't know, please, as I'm mentioning these things, you guys should be putting the name of the companies in the chat box so that all of us can know where we are going to port to from where we are working if they are not doing us well. You understand what I'm saying? So what are some workplace cultures? So these cultures I've listed, mind you, disclaimer, I'm sharing the positive aspects of them, and I'm also sharing negative aspect. There are also companies who do not care whether you meet your target, you don't meet your target, so far as they're paying you salary. Whether you go over and beyond and all of that, there is nothing that they don't care about that. What they care about is that they're paying you salary and you're supposed to do your job. So anything bonus or incentives, they are not interested in that. They don't give bonus and incentives. Yeah, I've worked in a company like that before. And I've asked as an HR manager that, oh, what do you reward staff with when they perform well, when they go over and beyond, when they meet their target? And I say nothing. We are paying them now. We're paying them salary now. Why should we give them bonuses and incentives? If we can, we would. Okay, and when I did my survey research, I asked when was the last time this company actually recognized staff and rewarded staff? Some of them were saying, the older staff were saying, well, when we first started, you know, that was when they were doing that. And over time, they stopped, right? So some workplace cultures are not pleasant to hear. Very, very terrible. Like the one I shared earlier. Why should a staff who is on an official assignment, official work, you know, have an accident on the way to an official work, and the company is saying they are not responsible for footing the bill. Like it doesn't even make sense. Like it's like saying that if God forbid, like I shared 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? I shared about a staff from a company my husband was telling me about, and this person, passed away while, I think while working. Yes, on the road, a dispatch rider passed away. They just closed down the office for one day, and the next day business resumes back to normal. It felt as if the person, they just replace the person. Actually, it's dispatch rider now. Replace the person. So these are very sad experiences, workplace cultures that needs to be changed. Companies need to reevaluate their culture and put in best cultures that can make staff want to stay, that can encourage staff retention, that can encourage staff safety and security. Now let's move on to perks and happy hours. Perks are like, spontaneous, and happy hours, For example, I used to do that when I was an HR manager. Has anybody ever done that with me? Nope. Have I ever experienced anyone do that? Nope. But I know friends that are in companies that they do that for, happy hours where spontaneously there's a game on the group chat or a game in the office or sticky notes passed around and somebody wins a prize, maybe a movie ticket or maybe a spa ticket or maybe like a gift, maybe a cash prize. Yeah, I have given cash prizes in the past. I've given different gifts. I'm a very nice HR, but when I want to be, yeah, the people that have been HR on me on Discord, they know when I want to be tough, I'm tough, right? Because I mean, you do your part, I do my part. So that was my job as an HR person, and I did that. So let's look at recognition and awards, like I said earlier. It's not a bad thing to do employee of the month, employee of the year. Look at employees that have, in the space of 6 months, they have drastically improved, they have drastically contributed to the organization, and reward them. Rewarding the staff you don't have to bring down the entire ceiling. I always say this, as little as a movie ticket. Fine, the person doesn't watch a movie, but you've given the gift. I mean, doesn't watch movies. I don't know who doesn't watch movies. Okay, some people don't like it, but okay, even if you don't watch TV, you should watch movies. Okay, a lunch ticket. Give a lunch ticket of 20,000. Okay, or cash prize if you don't know what to even give people. If it's a female, you could get them a handbag. Just do something. Oh, I have. My God, in the past, I have bought lunch for lots of staff, like before, from places they like, Domino's, Cold Stone, whatever it is. That stuff, it's encouraged. That stuff, is telling other people that, oh, my company, they consider human beings. I mean, because human beings are the staff, and they are the most greatest asset that, companies can have. I was speaking with my dad yesterday, and he was sharing with me what he does as a boss. And I'm like, man, I know you're my dad and I can't work in your company, but I don't mind though. He was sharing that his staff had spent, hours in the office over time the day before. Most of them went home late. And so he told them the next morning to resume. Is it 2 hours after they were supposed to resume? Like, I'm like, oh, that's nice. Companies don't do that. Who cares if you go home by 7 or 8? You're going to have to resume 8 a.m. the next morning or 9 a.m. the next morning. Am I right? Who is with me? Put in the chat box. Tell me, yes, that's how my company is. Don't mention the name of your company. Just say, yes, that's how my company is. Okay, then I put here penalties and fines for gross misconduct or workplace behaviors. What are that? Some companies are not too good in terms of bringing in nice cultures, but they are very good in terms of penalties. Yeah, yes. I know some of them. I'm not going to mention the name. Like when it comes to celebrating birthdays, no, they're not going to do that. Or doing happy hours or perks or giving gifts or rewarding. They don't do that. But when it comes to penalty, fine. They're very good. They're the ones that will say, we have employee handbook in this company. You need to read it, go through it, policies and all of that. They're very negative minded. They're always speaking out gross misconduct, always speaking out misbehaviors and, telling you, in fact, they're very quick in giving queries. I've shared it before. One of my former boss called me into his office and was querying me for not giving queries. Said, you don't give queries in this office. You don't give queries enough. Because he first said you don't give queries. So he knows me. I would have defended myself that I do. I can bring for you. Okay. So I said you don't give queries enough. Like, it's not a celebratory, act to be giving queries. I don't know who is with me here. Like, it's not fun. If people are doing what they're supposed to do, I shouldn't give queries. And before you even give an official query, official written query, you should have warned the person once or twice. I don't know who's with me, right? You should have told somebody that, okay, this particular action you committed or you did is against the company's, policies, please sit up straight, because the next time you do it, you're going to be, I'm just summarizing how I give query. This is not how I give queries. Please sit up straight, because the next time you're going to be giving a written query and all of that, there should be a forewarning at least twice or so, at least twice, or even 3 times, But companies like paper queries, just give queries, send mail query, and then just find deduct from salary. Those are some cultures that are not very pleasant. If you're going to have such cultures, I always advise you balance it with positive cultures. Who is with me? Yeah, positive cultures like food. Everybody likes food. When it comes to lunch, now everybody say, yes, give us lunch every day, or at least 3 times a week. I've experienced that. It's very nice to just have food delivered while you're working. You don't have to think about food and all that. Anyway, let's leave that aside. Right. So employee experience and behavioral outcomes, I have put here, I just want us to talk and discuss. If you cannot unmute your mic, don't forget, you can always send in the chat. I'm always reading the chat as much as I'm talking. I know it's double work for me today because I do not have a guest speaker today where I can just focus on reading you people's chats. But today I'm going to read it. I'm going to respond to it. So put in the chats, employee experience and behavioral outcomes based on workplace cultures. I've shared earlier some of the workplace cultures have helped employees to become disciplined, organized, diligent, hardworking, sociable. When you have birthdays, celebration, you have you guys are going out once a month, you have employee hangouts and all of those things. You encourage people who are very introverted or feel like, this company, let us just mind our business. Everybody do their work. Let me day my day, you day your day, that kind of thing. You encourage people to be more sociable, to be more considerate of themselves. I still remember my previous staff, some of their birthdays. I still remember it, even though I don't work there anymore. You become more warm. Some cultures new. I've only put positive employee experience here and behavioral outcomes. I want us to discuss the negative ones, but I didn't put the negative ones here, right? So it can make employees to develop themselves personally, right? If they have deducted from your salary first time, second time, third time, I'm very sure you sit up, you become more serious. Am I not right? Of course I'm right. You develop yourself personally. If you're someone who comes late all the time, you suddenly become very punctual. In fact, they will notice it in your church and in other places that, this person is, much more better. This person is much more intentional, more deliberate, more ambitious. If they're giving bonuses for hard work, if they're giving incentives for hard work, you become more ambitious. You become more goal-oriented. You understand? You give yourself some kind of task and goals and you meet it. Right, you tell yourself, well, I'm going to finish up this task before deadline, and you submit it. You see that you're becoming a better person, right? That's the positive experience and behavioral outcomes of employees when cultures are positive as well, right? You derive happy staff, satisfied staff who are fulfilled, satisfied. They don't go to bed every Sunday night and feel like, oh my God, tomorrow is Monday. Those people that always post it on their status, they don't like their workplace. If you're working in a very nice place, you won't feel that way. Fine, you just feel like, oh, so the weekend is over, but not enough to go to your WhatsApp status and all that and start posting, oh my God, it's Monday again. Can we have more weekend? Can we have 2 Sundays? Can we have 2 Saturdays? I see lots of people posting those things every Sunday night. Like, I'm always seeing it. And it's okay. It's normal. They're expressing themselves. How many of us feel like that? Let me just hear you in the chat box. Like, do you feel like we should have 2 Sundays in the weekend or 2 Saturdays in the weekend so that Monday? I just knew that you were going to respond. We should have blessing as well. I just knew you were going to respond. We should have 2 Sundays in the weekend or 2 Saturdays in the weekends because Monday to Friday feels like a whole month, right? Yeah, that's because your experience at work is not pleasant. It's not so pleasant. Like if you were to weight or scale, it's not so pleasant. So when you picture this picture, I had to put this picture here. Some of us, the picture of our workplace is like, mentally, it's not healthy. It's not healthy. You just think about your workplace, some of your colleagues, and you're like, if not for Jesus, and if not because we can't live without money, God knows. I'm just going to do ministry. I will go to missions, just go and win souls for those who are Christians. But the Muslims will just be like, you know what? I will just stay on my phone all day and do videos to help people to just know how to do whatever it is I know how to do. Or I'll just sit down and eat all day and watch Netflix, you know. If not that we have to live with money and you know can't live without money. So yeah, this is a picture that can be toxic to many people and can also be very fun to many people. Some people have learned to over time have a family in their workplace. You know, the family is like, oh my God, they meet Titi at work and they meet Moya at work and they meet Ope at work and they're so happy. In fact, when they're saying bye-bye at 5 p.m., it's like, don't go. Am I talking someone's mind? I'm sure some of you are like, nope, I don't feel like that. There's nothing you want to say. Nope. And you know, if you keep changing companies, changing your organizations, changing where you work, so most times, whatever it is you're running from, you still end up meeting it in a new workplace. The grass is not always greener at the other side when it comes to workplace culture and workplace experience. So very quickly, let's discuss this very quickly. Very quickly, let's discuss this. That's an interruption into the session for today. What are the must-haves, must-have cultures you think companies need? Let's discuss it in the chat box if you cannot speak out, but I would really enjoy at least one person. I'll be glad if one person can at least share with us what they think is one must-have culture companies need to have, that employees would appreciate, that, you know, would bring productivity in the organization, that would increase and enhance performance of staff, you know, that could even increase profitability. What are some of the cultures companies need to imbibe? What do you think? Let me see you people's contributions in the chat if you cannot speak. I know some of us are at work at the moment. It's a Friday afternoon, very hot Friday afternoon. Ask me why I'm wearing a turtleneck shirt or almost a turtleneck. I don't know, but I needed to look official for this for this webinar. So let's go, guys. What are the must-have cultures you think companies should have in organizations? Don't talk about lunch. I already mentioned that. Those of you that like food, some of my friends that like food here. No. Let's talk about something else. What are the cultures, you know, or what culture do you think your company needs to have? We just have a few minutes to discuss this. What are the must-have cultures a company must have? Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Ope has included in the chat box. She said regular trainings. Thank you. So I intentionally didn't put that in my slide, right? And you have mentioned it. So one bonus mark for you. I need to put a sound of, you know, round of applause in my webinar session so that they can clap for. But yeah, trainings, it's a must-have. Some companies are very quick to just do away with staff who are not performing well, you know, disengage them, you know, sack them. That's the word, you know, the layman word. Sack them, disengage them, as in they're not performing well, they're not doing as they ought to do, you know. Whereas the solution to that is probably training, awareness. They need to be aware of what some people are working in organizations, they're not even sure of their JD, or they've forgotten. They don't know, because when they first got there, they were giving them some task, and all of a sudden they are working in another department that's different from the department they were told they'd be working, you know, and all of a sudden they are quite lost, you know, and then they get to the month or the quarter where this performance evaluation is done, and they're telling them you're not performing as you ought to, you're not performing as you expected, because this is your job role and you're not doing that, you're doing this, right? So some people just need a reorientation and awareness, a training. Thank you so much, Okpe, for that. Yeah, let's also, let me hear from the rest of us. Let's talk. What are the must-have cultures you think companies should have? Companies, you know, while I'm waiting for us to put in the chat box. Okay, thank you so much, Moin. I see that. Well-being and therapy sessions. Oh yeah, because everybody these days, mental health. Everybody's having mental health issues. Nigeria is not even helping matters. The news, you watch the news, you go out every day, one or two things happen. So yeah, I like that. You know, if it's once in 3 months, once a month, companies should have therapy, you know, maybe, you know, emotional intelligence, mental health kind of training or talk, you know, what they can do, even if it's the same kind of thing they get to hear all the time. You know, I like that. Yeah, wellness and mental health culture is very good. You know, let me ask us, how many of us, our companies, do you have a coffee kitchenette, a kitchenette where you can eat, you can make coffee and all of that? Let me see our hands in the chat box. You have that. If you're working in a company where there's no kitchenette, no coffee, you're just on your own. If you like, drink coffee. If you like, don't drink coffee. I have worked in a company like that before. I can't even laugh. Oh, if you like drink coffee, if you like don't drink coffee. I had to even bring my own hot water and kettle from my house. Oh, they don't even have kettle. That's why I started asking myself that these people don't even consider me. They don't even care about me, and I expect them to care about the staff. Lie. To bring my own kettle and my own pure water because. Anyway, let's leave that. Okay, so another person put here, blessing, instead open communication and feedback loops. Okay, I like that too, but companies will not like that too. It's only me that likes that. Feedback, MDs, management, they hate feedback sessions. But it's a good culture that they should have. Why? Because feedback helps you. In fact, you have taken a leap into our topic for next week. Our topic for next week is feedback. Yeah, I've not constructed it yet, but it's about feedback. How to handle feedback as an HR, as an employee, as an MD, as a CEO. How do you handle feedback from staff? And even as an employee, how do you handle feedback from your boss? Some people don't like to hear that they're doing bad. Whereas you're doing bad doesn't mean that you're worse or they're going to sack you. It just means you need to up your game. You need to be more diligent, be more intentional, get more serious, read some more books, get more enlightened. That's just what it means, But some people take it as they mean they are worse, they are bad, and they start getting depressed and they start comparing themselves and all of that. No, you're not going to grow that way. It's a mindset. So I like that point. Blessing, feedback. I like that. Open communication. But just know that, just have it at the back of your mind. Most organizations don't like open communication or feedback. Some bosses don't like to be told to their faces that, sir, we're not doing well in this company. We can do better. Oh yeah, come and be the boss now. They'll tell you, oh yeah, come and sit down. So you think it's easy, Abby? That's what they'll tell you. So thank you all so much for this few contributions you have made. Ope, Blessing, and Moi. Thank you so much for that. Think about the must-have culture you think your company where you're working right now must have, to improve employee productivity, to improve performance, to improve profitability overall of the entire organization, and share that with them. If they can't hear or they wouldn't be able to listen to the constructive feedback, write it in the paper and just slot it under your I didn't say that. I didn't tell you that. Slot it under your boss's door. It's always locked. So just put the paper and just put it there. Sir, I think if we do this company will grow. This company will get better. Try that. Try that kind of feedback. For Blessing, according to Blessing, that's not open communication. It's closed communication. But ensure you communicate. That's all that matters. Yeah. I didn't tell you that. Think about it before you do it. Okay, so we have about 2.5 minutes left before this webinar session ends. Do we have a question or feedback from anything that I've said or from any one of us who seems to be having a terrible experience at work right now and the culture is eating you up? It's eating you up mentally, emotionally, psychologically. You don't even think that you can stand being a staff in that company by the end of this October. Just put it in the chat box. I may not be able to do anything more to help you, except tell you that, if anything is threatening your mental health, your emotions, your psychological mind, your peace, I think it's time to pivot. I think it's time to move. If you're asking questions, how do I move? What do I do if I really want to move? What are the first things I need to do? Of course, the first things you need to do is update your CV, look out for more opportunities, ask yourself, in fact, this is the first thing you need to do before you update your CV. Ask yourself, what kind of place would I like to work? What kind of environment would I like to work? What is the job title that I will have that I'll be proud to say that I have? What are my passions? What are my values? What do I really hold as a value? What do I really enjoy doing? Some of us are working because it gives the salary, but we're not really happy about it. It's okay because we're in an economy where it doesn't really matter your passion or what you're happy doing. You need to put food on the table. You need to get going. That's fine. That's okay. But if you had an option, what would you rather do than what you're doing right now? In fact, let's do that in the next 10, 15 seconds. You guys put it in the chat box for me. What would you rather do if money does not answer all things and you don't need to earn a salary? What would you rather be doing? Very quickly, in less than a minute, the session will be over. But let me hear you guys speak, right? What would you rather be doing if you didn't have to work where you're working right now? Come on, guys, don't disappoint me. Let me see your responses before we finish the session. Blessing, Moi, let me hear you guys. Let me hear you guys. What would you rather be doing? Oh, I like that. When you said travel around the world, I love that. Tour around the world, enjoy yourself, see the goodness of God, the stars, the oceans, the mountains. Ooh, yeah, that's amazing. Anybody else? What would you rather be doing if you were not doing what you're doing? Don't ask me. Maybe next week I'll answer. What would I rather be doing if I don't have to do HR or music? Those that know I do music. I don't know. Music, that one, I'd rather be doing that or not rather be doing that. I'll always do music. All right, guys. So it seems everyone is busy at work and they can't chat, type in the chat box. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar session. I appreciate you all. I love you guys. My homies who join every week, thank you. If you're joining for the first time, welcome. I appreciate you for taking time out of work to join today's session. God bless you. Have an amazing Friday and an amazing